Hold up! Did Nintendo just unleash a bricking disaster with the Switch 2? A massive lawsuit is unfolding, and your console might be next. In the world of gaming, Nintendo's legendary franchises, Mario, Zelda, Pikachu, have defined generations. But now, shocking reports reveal they might have a policy allowing them to permanently disable your new Switch 2 at their whim. That's right. If they decide you violated their terms, your console could become a useless paperweight forever. Is this the future of gaming ownership, or are we heading into a new era of corporate control? Stay tuned, because what I'm about to tell you will blow your mind. The Brazilian lawsuit. This controversial policy has sparked a legal showdown in Brazil, where consumer protection authorities have challenged Nintendo's terms of service. Brazil's consumer watchdog, Procon SP, along with other agencies, has taken a stand against what they consider abusive clauses that grant Nintendo the power to permanently restrict access to online services like eShop and multiplayer features. The crux of the dispute lies in Nintendo's ability to ban or brick consoles without due process, especially when users attempt to use unauthorized accessories or software, including fan-made translations or region hacks. Brazil's legal action highlights a broader issue: the right to ownership versus the company's control. Under Brazilian law, certain clauses in Nintendo's end-user license agreement, EULA, have been deemed abusive because they allow Nintendo to essentially take away the owner's device entirely, infringing upon consumer rights. This move by Brazilian regulators underscores a growing global resistance against corporations that prioritize digital rights management, DRM, and anti-piracy measures over consumer ownership. The bricking mechanism and its consequences. The technical aspect of this policy involves a system error code, 2124-4550, that appears when a console is bricked. Affected users lose access to online services, though offline gameplay remains possible. The problem intensifies when these consoles are sold second-hand, unknowingly bricked, leaving unsuspecting buyers with expensive devices that are useless online. This practice fuels a secondary market where bricked consoles are sold at discounted prices, inadvertently spreading the problem further. More troubling is the fact that many modern Nintendo games require an internet connection to function fully. If a console is bricked and disconnected from Nintendo's servers, players could find themselves unable to access their purchased titles, effectively losing access to their investment. This shift toward always online gaming, combined with the ability to remotely disable hardware, raises serious questions about ownership rights in the digital age. The broader implications for gaming and consumer rights. This situation isn't isolated. It reflects a larger trend where companies are increasingly treating hardware and software as licenses rather than tangible possessions. Unlike traditional ownership, where buying a physical product meant you owned it outright, modern consoles often come with digital licenses that can be revoked at the manufacturer's whim. Nintendo's policies seem to reinforce this paradigm, where the user is more of a tenant than an owner. Critics argue that such practices are not only exploitative, but also fundamentally unfair. If consumers pay hundreds of dollars for a device, they should have the right to modify, repair, or use it as they see fit. Jailbreaking, region hacks, fan translations, and modding, often necessary for accessibility or cultural reasons, are increasingly criminalized or made impossible through firmware updates and DRM. The policy of bricking at Nintendo's discretion, therefore, appears to be the company's way of asserting total control over its ecosystem. Could governments step in? The Brazilian lawsuit is part of a broader push for consumer protections worldwide. In many regions, regulators are starting to question whether such restrictive clauses violate consumer rights or anti-monopoly laws. The European Union, for instance, has shown interest in scrutinizing DRM practices, and there is growing advocacy for legislation that guarantees digital ownership rights. However, in the United States, legislation tends to lag behind, and big tech companies often influence policy to favor their interests. The argument that companies should have the right to manage their ecosystems is often balanced against consumer rights to repair, modify, and own their devices fully. The recent lawsuit in Brazil could serve as a catalyst for more stringent regulations elsewhere, potentially forcing companies like Nintendo to reconsider their policies. The consumer perspective: ownership, legality, and morality. From a consumer standpoint, the idea of owning a device that can be remotely disabled is deeply troubling. Many gamers have expressed frustration over the loss of physical ownership. Physical games are becoming rarer, and digital licenses often come with restrictions. The notion that a $500 device could become useless because the manufacturer deems it a violation is akin to a modern form of digital serfdom. Moreover, the practice of bricking raises ethical questions. Is it morally justifiable for a company to render a device useless without transparency or compensation? Critics argue that it's akin to vandalism or corporate sabotage. Some have even jokingly proposed new terms like brickendo to reflect Nintendo's aggressive policy of destroying devices they consider non-compliant. The future of gaming ownership and rights. This controversy underscores a pivotal moment in gaming history. As digital distribution and cloud gaming grow, the traditional concept of ownership is eroding. Consumers should demand clearer rights, such as the ability to repair and modify their hardware, and safeguards against arbitrary bricking. Legislators, consumer rights organizations, and gamers themselves must work together to establish fair standards. This includes transparency in policies, the right to repair, and protections against unfair practices like remote bricking. The Brazilian case might set a precedent, encouraging other nations to scrutinize similar policies. Final thoughts. The Nintendo Switch 2 bricking disaster is more than just a technical glitch or a legal squabble. It's a wake-up call about the future of ownership in the digital age. As the lawsuit unfolds and more details emerge, one thing is clear: consumers must remain vigilant and vocal. The fight for fair digital rights is just beginning, and it's a battle that will define the landscape of gaming and technology for years to come. So, what do you think? Is this the future we want, where companies can just brick your device anytime they please? Or is it time we stand up and demand our rights to own, repair, and enjoy our gadgets freely? The lawsuit is just the beginning, and the fight for digital freedom is more important than ever. If you found this video eye-opening, make sure to hit that like button. It helps more people see what's really going on. Subscribe for more honest, no-nonsense updates on gaming, tech, and digital rights. And don't forget to drop your thoughts in the comments. What's your take on Nintendo's policies?